And we're cooking, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Encrypted Connections. I am your host, Kyle. Tonight, I'm super excited. If you read the description, of this episode, this is no exaggeration. This gentleman sent me some stuff today, and I haven't been doing this very long, but in the course of the last 6 or 7 months, I've had people send me a bunch of stuff, and I can tell you truthfully that I have not gotten this amount of beautiful, clear, amazing evidence of all kinds from one single person. It's really incredibly impressive, and I'm super excited to have him on the show. Thank you, Alex, for recommending it. I didn't even know. I saw people in the chat saying Tristan, and I had no idea they were talking about Kaiju Ninja. I'm like, who's Tristan? I don't see Tristan in the chat. I'm so confused about this. But Alex and Brian were like, Tristan is Kaiju Ninja. So everybody, this is Tristan, also known as Kaiju Ninja. Welcome to the show, man.
Thanks a lot, Kyle. Thanks for having me on, man.
Very happy to have you, man.
Yeah.
Let me say hi to the people in the chat real quick. Fresh, yes, buddy. Fresh just sent me a message on the phone saying, please make sure that everybody can see and hear you tonight, because a couple nights ago, I really messed up. I had on a young gentleman from across the pond named Harlem. He's 16 years old, just turned 16. He's got his own show called I Talk Cryptids. And we saw him. He was on Bushcraft with me a couple months ago. And I just thought this kid was so impressive because he was so young and he was still going to school. He doesn't have a car, but he's putting in so much effort and time to making this show. I mean, he really does a great job on the show. He knows his stuff, man. And I said, we got to try to help this kid out as much as we can, because obviously this is the future of this whole thing, right? The young ones, you got to get young kids interested. One of the things I see on my analytics is that the majority of my audience is 40 and over, right? I don't have a lot of young people watching this show. And so when I see a young man like this and he's excited about this stuff, I said, well, let's try to nurture that excitement and let's try to help him in any way we can. Well, I messed up. I hit the go live button, and then the go live asks you again, are you sure you want to go live? And I hit yes, but I must have, in the process of trying to hit the show opening, clicked out of it. Oh. And so we talked for 40 minutes, and I thought we were live. Oh. The chat was full. People were talking in the chat, and I only glance over once in a while, because I feel like when I have a guest on, I don't want to be rude, and I feel like it's rude to constantly be staring over the chat. My ADD gets the best of me sometimes, so I glance once in a while. If I see caps, I know there's a question. I try to highlight that, and then I can go back to it, but I didn't see any of that, and so I just kept going for 40 minutes, and then I'm looking at the corner of the screen, and I noticed there's no countdown of how long we've been on. I went, wait a minute, something's not right here. And then I looked up at the top corner and it said go live still. I said, oh shoot.
Crap.
I messed up. The poor kid, when I told him, he looked so defeated. He went, oh. So we started all over, and I had to re-ask questions, but he was a good sport about it. He's such a great young man. If you ever get a chance to go watch, give him a watch, man. Give him a sub, because it's, like I said, huge pat in the back. And also, I said it a couple times on the show, major kudos to his parents, because they drive him to far away places and they camp with him to do this stuff, which, that's amazing. That's
really great. Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's really great to see that kind of support.
For sure. I think it's so important for whatever you're doing, for any kid, whatever their passion is. I think it's so important to, nurture that as much as you can.
Absolutely.
Kyle kept him up way past his bedtime. Yeah, I might have. Poor kid. At least he was off on vacation. He wasn't going to school the next day. So.
I was gonna say, hopefully he was on spring break or something.
He was.
I don't know
Thank
what they have
God.
over there, but yeah.
Yeah, he was. I felt so. That was one of the first things I asked him when I found out we had done 40 minutes already. I was like, "Are you on spring break?" And he was like, "Yes." I'm like, "Okay, thank goodness." Anyway, fresh. I checked. We're live. Sandy, hello. Nancy, hello. Brown Dwarf, what's up, my brother? How are you, man? Donna, good evening. Existers, bro, what's going on, man? Addie, how are you? Pyro, what's going on? I think that's everybody for now. They'll file in. This is what usually happens. So let's get started. I always start right at the beginning since it's your first time on the show. How did you get interested in this? I mean, were you like just like most of us? Were you a kid who had this kind of embedded in them?
Yeah, growing up, I had a real fascination with dinosaurs, prehistoric things, Godzilla, monsters, aliens, Alien and Predator, all that kind of stuff. And then Bigfoot and cryptids, Loch Ness Monster, that all came in with it. I was going to the library, checking out a whole bunch of books, watching all those documentaries on TV, such as In Search of, and there was In Search of Bigfoot with Robert W. Morgan, Bigfoot the Mysterious Monster with Peter Graves, sightings, unsolved mysteries, all that stuff, man. Even Harry and the Hendersons.
Yeah.
Because I was born in the 80s and I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and all that stuff was on TV, and I just got a whole fascination with it growing up. But the thing is, I had no interest in going out there searching for it. It was just a really cool fascination that I had, just like with dinosaurs and all this other stuff. And and that all changed for me in 2015 when my father heard a couple whoops up on this hill that was behind our house over here, and he was taking out the trash one morning before going to work, and he heard two distinct whoops on two sides of this hill over here by my house. And he thought that was very odd. He's never heard that before. So he made a mental note of that. And then as he was going to work, there was a herd of elk in the middle of the roadway down here on the road. And they were all looking up on the hill where those whoops were coming from. So my dad actually had to swerve around the herd of elk to get around them. And he thought that was really odd that they were all looking in that direction. Yeah. And then he went to work. And for whatever reason, he didn't tell me and my mom about it until like a week or two later. We might have been watching Finding Bigfoot or something on TV, something that sparked a Bigfoot, something that made him remember about it. So when he told us about the whoops, my mother and I got really shocked and excited, and we went up on the hill and we left out a jar of peanut butter and some peanut butter crackers. There's like 6 of them, I think, in these little plastic wrappers. And I left an old digital recorder. It was like an old digital recorder on the stump, and I bungee corded it to the stump, and I just left it there. I didn't cover it up at all because this was my first time ever trying to research. I just didn't know what the hell I was doing.
Yeah.
But as it's at the same time, I wanted to get the Sierra sounds because I was really interested in those. I wanted to get some kind of speech or chatter, hopefully. So I just left it up there overnight with the peanut butter and the peanut butter crackers, and then the next morning I went back up there and I retrieved everything, and the peanut butter had I think there might be pictures of it on the files there, but the peanut butter actually had some look like finger holes inside of it, like possibly something put its hand inside of it and scooped some out. And there's actually possible dermal ridges on the inside of the peanut butter jar. And the other thing is the peanut butter crackers were all gone, and they were neatly taken out of the wrapper. They weren't like ripped open, maybe like a bear or wild animal would do it. They were neatly, like the wrapper was neatly open, and then something must have maybe went like this to eat them. And the other thing is I went over to the recorder and recorded. It didn't look like it was scratched or anything. Like it looked totally fine to me. But when I took it home and listened to it, apparently an hour after my mother and I left the night before, something came in, and you can hear it eating and then all of a sudden you hear this thing growl, and then it just comes over to the recorder and starts messing with it and growling at the same time. And in my opinion, I don't think it's a bear. It has a really, yeah, there you go. I don't know. It just doesn't sound like a bear to me. And bears, with my experience with these recorders, bears will chew it up. It will basically destroy the recorder, basically. So the fact that this recorder was left intact was really intriguing to me. I can't say for sure this was a Sasquatch that did it, but since I didn't see it, but just the fact that I was able to get these sounds on that recorder was something. And the biggest thing about this recording is that when this thing comes in, there's a really loud whoop feedback kind of a sound, and some people think it's maybe infrasound or something, but I don't know what it is. But I've never heard it before in any of my recordings. It is like a feedback sound, like a real loud feedback sound, and it occurs whenever this thing's around the recorder. So if it is a Sasquatch, it must be emitting some kind of, if they want to call it infrasound, I don't know, but it's really weird. And if you get the chance to listen to it on here tonight, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we're gonna listen to a bunch, man. He sent me so much stuff, guys. Like, it's just amazing. This is crazy. Like, this is nuts. I'll bring up the other pictures too. These lines, like,
Yeah.
is this is, if this is dermal ridging, this is like some of the deepest dermal ridging there is, which would make sense if it's a very large creature.
Right. And, some people thought it might be butter knife scrapes, but I really don't recall ever using this peanut butter jar. I think it was like a new jar that we left out there. And again, if you see the picture of the inside of the peanut butter jar, you'll see those holes, like those possible finger holes in it. And I don't know, man, something really messed with it.
Yeah.
So, I don't
let
know.
me bring up those the other one pictures of this, because it's it really is some crazy. Let's see, where are you? Finger holes. Here we go. Yeah. Yeah, this is crazy. Oh, did that not work?
Was it not loading?
No, I don't know why it's not doing that for me. Hold on. Let me see. I'm trying to get it to. Come on, baby. Come on, baby.
And I'll just add on to it, like, the real funny thing is after this recording, I didn't get any other sounds near the spot. It seems like whatever touched the recorder, messed with the recorder, did not like this recorder there, and it didn't come back. And that's really the only, in that area, that's really the only sounds I was able to ever get, really. So
that's so weird, man.
Yeah.
That's so weird. Okay, here we go. I got it now. Here we go. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, check that out. Looks like fingers to me, man.
Yeah, dude. Like, it wasn't one of us doing that. We didn't put our hand in there. But that's what it looked like. Yeah. And we still have that jar too. It's up in the cupboard.
No way, you kept it. That's good.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I would have kept it too. Yeah, that's crazy. Let me show one more of this, because the other ones are just so good too. It's amazing, man. You just don't see stuff like this all the time. So when I saw this stuff, I was literally like, I was so excited, and I wanted everyone to see this. Where is it?
The other thing is that, I've left peanut butter jars in other areas for possible gifting, and we've had them taken and chewed up, possibly by bears, and I know what a bear usually does to peanut butter jars, man. Like, they'll take it, or you'll see the remains of a chewed up, plastic. So the fact that I didn't see this happen makes me think it might not be a bear, because it really would have chewed that stuff, man. It would have been gone.
Yeah.
So I really don't know.
I don't know either, man. I mean, I could see where someone's saying a butter knife. I can understand that,
Yeah, I
but
do too.
but the finger holes and some of these, when you look on the sides of this, some of them actually look like a finger print, like the top of a finger, like it reached in and like pressed the finger right up against the side of it or something. I mean, it's even the right shape.
Yeah, exactly. You know, if I didn't see those finger holes, I wouldn't have been as suspect about it. But the fact that there are possible finger holes inside of it, and with these possible dermal ridges, is like, you know, it might be a hand.
Yeah,
I don't know what other animal has ridges like that on their, you know, hand or paw, whatever you want to call it.
I don't either.
So I don't
I don't
know.
either. And I think
You
you're
know,
right.
it's scary.
When you do, when you kind of sit back and you think about it all, bears are destructive. They're not,
Very.
you know, they're not very finessing animals. They're
Yeah,
gonna rip that thing apart to get inside there. It's gonna be in pieces. It's gonna be destroyed.
exactly.
The recorder, you're right. They're gonna chew on it. You're gonna hear their teeth chomping down on it. I mean,
Yep. And
this
I've
is
had that happen on my recordings. Yep.
yeah, right. I'm sure you have. So yeah,
Hmm.
this is something totally different in my opinion.
Very different.
So this was so that your very first try. This is my cat Ollie.
I hope.
Hey, buddy.
It's cute.
Your very first try at researching was accidental,
Yep.
and you walk away with a peanut butter jar that was opened and dug inside by something. Something we say something
Something. Yep.
because which I
Yep.
respect. I let me tell you that too. I respect the hell out of you because when Tristan was sending me these emails, and oh, Ollie, you bastard.
Oh no. You all right?
He does this every time.
Huh.
When he was sending me these emails and stuff, one of the first things he said to me was, I'm not saying they're Sasquatch. I can't say that because I didn't see it.
Exactly. Yep.
But it's something strange. It's something out of the ordinary. And you're right, but I don't know what else it could be. I don't have. It doesn't. It's not human. I can't imagine any humans out there doing these things.
I mean, unless there's a homeless person up there doing that, I have no idea. But
Yeah,
it's not me and my mother doing it. So unless somebody was up there watching us, but I
yeah.
really don't know, man. Like, yeah, I again, yeah, exactly. Like, I can't claim any of the stuff that I'm going to share tonight to be Bigfoot because I didn't see it, and it's all up for interpretation. I just don't want to make that claim, and
Well,
I
that's
don't think it's
big.
right to make that claim. It's just, you know, 'cause
I
I
give you
don't
a lot
know.
of respect for that because there's
Yeah,
so many people out there that are constantly saying this is a Bigfoot. These are
exactly.
Bigfoot. This is, but and it's just impossible to say that for sure unless you were there, you
Right.
filmed it clearly, and even then it's like you could say you could film Patty doing this to peanut butter jar, and somebody's going to tell you, well, how do you know that's a Bigfoot?
Exactly. They'll question you anyway, even if you capture something on film or get
Right.
a picture. They're still going to question you on it. You know, Patty's being questioned till this day.
Absolutely.
So, yeah,
Absolutely. But yeah, big respect to you for that. So, okay. So this is your
thanks.
first chance. This is the first thing that happens.
Yep.
How does things progress from here?
Well, we started going online. We wanted to. Obviously, we were very interested in possibly researching around the state. So we actually went online, and
What state are you in?
I'm in Washington State.
Okay.
And this happened in 2015. This was about 8 or so years ago when this happened. So, Finding Bigfoot was still pretty popular, and but honestly, to be honest with you, I didn't know very much about the online scene with Bigfoot at the time. I didn't really research, all YouTube in terms of, a lot of researchers on YouTube and such. So, there's a few people in Washington State that I was able to find, and that's what happened. I found a person in Washington State that has a group. I don't want to say the group, but we
Yeah.
got involved with them, and we started camping around Washington State. And I'll just say one of the places that we went to is a famous place called Bumping Lake. It's up near Mount Rainier, and it's a very popular spot for squatters. And I've been possibly getting audio up there of something going on, and that's the majority. Honestly, the majority of my audio has been coming from there. I do have some spots near me around here where I live, where I go researching and catch audio, but nothing like what's at Bumping Lake. And Tate Hieronymus, I went up there with Tate Hieronymus last year with Brent Dill, and we camped out in in a couple of those camping spots up in there. And I might have caught some stuff on audio up there as well, but in person, we didn't really hear anything in person up there. So it's, when you go up to these areas, it's really a crapshoot. Like you may get something, you may not get something. And honestly, that's really the reality of Bigfooting, is that I would say about 95% of the time you're going researching out there, you're not going to get anything. It's really just out of the blue and luck. And it's a little bit different than what you see on TV. I think what you see on TV is obviously more for entertainment and glorifying purposes.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really not like what you see on shows like Expedition Bigfoot and such. It's really you really don't get very much out there. And and when you do get something, yeah, it's great, it's exciting, but I would say people should expect the unexpected when you're out there, and kind of keep things low, until maybe you catch something. But I wouldn't just go out there and go, all right, I'm gonna get a vocalization tonight, because dude, you just don't know. You really don't know when you go out there.
It is. You're right. It's safer to keep your expectations low.
Yes.
It's crazy how this stuff works. I don't know why I'm frozen on the screen right now, but
it looks frozen on your screen.
Let me check my camera real quick. Let's see. Maybe if I drop it down. Better. That's better.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
All right.
Better.
Maybe it was the 1080 that was giving it a hard time.
That could be it.
So you're right. You can't go out there and expect that every time you do it. It's so few and far between. Which but this is what is amazing about the evidence that you've been able to capture since 2015. This is a boatload of evidence when you're talking about Bigfoot. I mean, this is a lot.
Yeah,
a lot, and it's very. I mean, the stuff that I'm looking at, the pictures of the trackways, the handprints, this is not these like impressions where you're going, okay, well, it's an impression and it's about the same shape and it's right size and they're all in one line and these are clear footprints. And I want to start showing some of this stuff now because there's so much of it. I want to make sure that we have enough time.
Sure.
So let's see. Let me go back to this.
And the funny thing about some of these footprints is, kind of like what people are finding is they usually find one footprint and not always a trackway associated with them.
That's all I've found so far is one.
Yeah, and
I two, and then some impressions. That was it.
Right. I don't know the answer to that. Why people are finding one? It is odd, and also, the footprints that I find sometimes on these lakes. Obviously, there's other prints out there too, from humans. But that could mean if these are Sasquatch prints that I'm taking pictures of, maybe they come in during the night and early morning hours when there's no people out there. So it's very possible that you're just seeing a combination of human and possibly Bigfoot prints, and obviously there's animal prints out there too. So
right,
that's just something people should be aware of when they're looking for footprints. Is that you're gonna get possibly Sasquatch and human prints at the same time when you're looking around out there. Yeah, and the other thing is when I'm looking for footprints, I really kind of like what you and I were talking about before. I try to look for the flat footprints, the wide and flat footprints, and footprints without an arch in them, because that's gonna, in my opinion, that gives away more of a human print. Yeah, and also the way the toes are aligned. If they're more horizontal as opposed to like diagonal, kind of like what our toes are like. Ours are more diagonal at an angle, whereas possibly Bigfoot is more horizontal across. So that's what I try to look for,
right?
As well as a lack of an arch and a mid-tarsal break if they got one. So like
I've seen this a couple times too. That the big toe on some of these seems to be set back a little bit.
Right, or if it's really big and long too, I've noticed that as well.
Yeah, that also. Yeah.
And I'm not saying this is a Bigfoot print because I don't know, but I just thought it looked weird, and it looked like there was a lack of an arch there, so I took a picture of it. And that middle toe there is pretty pronounced.
Yeah,
It's
for
pretty pointed.
sure.
I'm not sure what's up with that. So
There's some strange toes in some of these. We'll talk about it when we see them. So let me get to. I don't know why my computer's taking so long to load. Okay, so here's a big impression. It looks like, I mean, that's a deep impression in some, I'm guessing, very spongy ground.
yeah, the bumpy lake soil there at the lake is very. It is very. This one, yeah. What's interesting about this print is that this was found near the spot where the recorder, where I had the recorder up here on the hill. This was.
Whoops,
It wasn't right there where the recorder was, but it was in that general area, and it was going up a hill. That print that you're just looking at there,
and that's I mean that with all that greenery and those little I forget what those plants are called, those little ones with the needles on them and stuff. That's all very spongy, bouncy stuff.
Yeah, yeah. That stuff is very mossy, spongy stuff. Exactly.
Which, I mean, if it's got a lot of bounce back, it's not easy to create an indentation in that stuff.
No, especially exactly. I know there's people that walk barefoot out in the woods sometimes, but I do know there are hikers that do that. But where this was found, I don't see anybody. I've never seen anybody walk barefoot in that terrain. I mean, this was going up a cliff, basically, with this kind of this mossy. I don't know. Yeah, you're right. How would somebody leave a print like that? They would have to be very heavy.
Very heavy.
Yeah.
Very heavy. Yeah. I don't see this being a human that's leaving a print like that. Not in that substrate.
No. And, I thought it looked more humanoid than possibly a bear. I don't know what print. I don't know what that is, to be honest, but I thought it looked humanoid-ish. So that's why I took a picture of it.
Yeah.
So I did think that was interesting. Yeah.
Okay, so what's this? I'm trying to look at me. Okay, I can see it now. The top of it's very squared off almost.
Yeah, it is.
Really wide.
Yeah, this was found near one of my my recent one of my local research areas here. This was and this ground is very hard. It's very hard to leave an impression on there. So the fact that I was able to see that and take a picture of it, it's like I was shocked. Again, we're talking about weight here. Something really had to press down and leave that. And
sure.
We have bear here. We have all sorts of animals: elk, bear, cougar. We have all of that here, but
right.
I've never seen anything like that. Some people might think that might be a two-step from a bear, but I really don't know. To me, it looks more humanoid, but I can't say for sure if that's a bear print or not. But
I think it looks more human. Because to me, when I'm looking at this, I feel like I can see at least 3, maybe 4 toes, potentially.
Yeah.
Okay, not very clear, but it looks like there's like maybe the outline of the second, third, fourth toe, just a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it's just as important to take pictures of these things when you don't, when you're not sure, because you can learn something from stuff that's also not Bigfoot prints, right? You can learn from bear prints, you can learn from cougar tracks. It's important to take pictures of all that stuff so that you understand the differences and your surroundings and what's out there. So if you guys are ever out there and you see a bear print, take a picture of it, because then you get to study that picture more. You get to look at it and you go, okay, now I got a real understanding of what this thing looks like. And next time you'll know a little better what isn't, what surely isn't a Sasquatch track.
Exactly, and I've done that myself. I've taken picture of bear tracks, and I take pictures of everything I find. I mean, to be honest, I'm always constantly looking for footprints on the ground, and maybe it's pareidolia on some of the things that I capture, but I like what you just said. I take a picture of everything, no matter what, just for category purposes. If it's
for
pareidolia
sure.
or not, it's always good to have it there. And so this print was found. This was found by my mother in Greenwater. Greenwater is close to Mount Rainier. And in fact, my mother found some possible. She found some possible Bigfoot scat in this area in Greenwater, and I have that here with me. And she found this in this mud, and I don't know. I don't know if it's a Bigfoot print or not, but she thought it was interesting, so she took a picture of it.
It's definitely interesting.
Yeah.
It's definitely interesting. I mean, it looks like it's quite a bit longer than her foot. If those are the toes at the top, and then the back of the heel goes a couple inches back behind her heel.
Yeah.
And that, yeah, somebody unexplained saying, look at that setback toe. Yeah, I see what
But
you're
again,
talking
it's
about.
hard to say what made it. But and here we go again with the single track thing. What I don't get it, but that's what we find a lot is single tracks. So
It's very weird.
it is very weird.
Very weird. What's really weird, like I understand if you were to find like, so the first one that I found, it wasn't very weird to find one there because of the way it was walking.
Mm-hmm.
It was walking out of a very grassy field, crossing a path that went around the outside of this field. It was like almost a perfectly round field in that opened up in the center of the forest.
Okay.
And there was grass that was anywhere between 5, 6, 7 feet high. And then there was obviously a couple game trails going through that had matted down some of this grass. And what it looked like, because what I found was one track that was going up the hill as if it had walked out of that path, taken one stride across that pathway that went around the outside, and that one foot, the right foot landed just going up a very slight grade and then into the woods, which is only 2 feet away.
Oh, wow.
And there was a little bit of sand there. It's the craziest thing, right? It was there was the only place there was a sand, and I don't even know why it was there, but there was sand at the edge of this field, and it was a 12-foot by 12-foot patch of sand, and it happened to step in that sand with the one print. So I can understand that, right? That's
Sure.
It steps over. It's walking on the grass. You weren't able to see much except for some impressions in that grass. We also have really very, very hard ground here. It's very rocky underneath the dirt. So
Right.
impressions are very hard to find here. You really have to be lucky to find something in some really soft, muddy, sandy stuff. And even that's not very common. But the other tracks, when it's walking in a straight line somewhere, through mud, nothing obstructed, and there's one track, that stuff just baffles me. I don't get it.
Exactly. Me too, man. Yeah, exactly.
I don't get it.
It's like they have to step in the right spot for you to find something like that. It's like
Right. Exactly.
it really is luck. And also, we found possible tracks along kind of like what you said, game trails and trails in general. So it's just because we walk on the trails doesn't mean that they're not walking on them possibly either.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean,
we caught cougar on some of these trails on game cameras, like elk. I mean, they'll all walk these same paths that we do. So
well, it makes sense. Why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
If you have the opportunity, right? Maybe not during the day, obviously, but at night when we're not out there, if they have the opportunity to walk on a trail that's nice and groomed, as opposed to trooping it through the bushes and stuff, I'd probably choose that too. It's just like the power lines, right? That's like a highway.
Mm-hmm.
If they can have a quick, easier way to get somewhere, then why wouldn't they take it?
I totally agree. Yeah, totally
All right.
plausible.
Let's see the next one. Okay.
Yeah, this was the weird thing is I only found a couple tracks during this time. This was near a lake near me, and these were found in the wintertime a few years ago, and I only have 2 pictures of them. But you could see the depth in them, and who the heck is walking barefoot out in snow? I don't know. I don't know, man. Like I don't know. Again, I'm not saying it's Bigfoot, but who the heck is walking barefoot out there? So
yeah, agree 100%, man.
and
Totally
is
agree.
that a barefoot print? Barefoot track? I don't know. It looks like it because it looks like there's toes at the top, and it looks like it's actually flexible too.
Yeah.
Like that foot looks like it's a flexible foot. So
look at the way the heel is set so deep.
Right, exactly. Yep.
I mean, exactly. And that's some real depth to that thing.
Right. You know, and honestly, my thought is, I think the juveniles and possibly females will frequent lakes, you know, on the banks of lakes, probably looking for crayfish or whatever, oysters and stuff. And because I usually don't find I don't find the really big tracks along lakes. I find these little, you know, these ones that maybe might be my size or around my size or a little bit bigger than that, you know, like they're around 13 inches or so. But
Okay.
that's what around lakes. That's usually what I find.
Okay. That's
The bigger guys I usually find up on, you know, when I'm hiking up on these mountains. Like the biggest track that I found was 17 inches, and that was up on one of my local research areas here. And but it wasn't in mud or anything. It was in thick brush and leaves, but you can see the imprint in there. You can actually see the outline of the foot. And that's the other thing too I want to bring is you know, sometimes when you're taking pictures, they don't show up as good as if you see a footprint in person. You know, it's kind of weird like that. Sometimes you take a picture and it doesn't look like what you see in person sometimes. And I don't
sure.
understand how that is, but
Sure. Yeah. Understood.
yeah.
All right. Let's see. Let's do. Let's take a look at this one.
And yeah, this was one that I found at Bumping Lake at one of our camps. It was the first thing I saw when I checked out the camp. This was right at it, and I got really excited. And we had Chris Connor from Trail to Bigfoot with us, and he was there, and we casted that. And again, it was a single track, but it was really deep in the mud, and it is 11.5 inches. This guy right here. This was 11.5 inches in the dirt.
Look at that.
And again, that's really compact there. You really have to put your foot down to make an imprint like that. Because as you can see, that thing really dug in deep. So
yeah, for sure, man, for sure.
And again, it's a single track.
I want, yeah, weird, man. I ask, like, I'd say to people sometimes, like, if you've never done it, just do it. Go out there one day in your yard and try to leave an impression like that. Just try. It's really incredibly hard. Yeah. I've tried it multiple times. I'm 300 pounds, bro. I'm a big boy. Right. I can't. I'm jumping up and down. I'm doing everything I can, and I cannot leave a deep impression in most substrate. I mean, if it's mud, if it's real wet, soppy mud, that's different. But
sure,
not that kind of stuff.
No, this is like almost like what you see in the desert, you know, like Eastern Washington. It's really like that kind of, you know, that it's really kind of a hard soil as you're walking around in. It's not. I mean, where this was found, this is not soft soil. I mean, you really have to. I don't know, man. You really have to be heavy to leave something like that, because that was in a few inches into the earth.
Yeah,
so really something heavy made that,
and which is amazing too, right? So 11
inches? And a half, yeah.
11 and a half inches. Okay, so not an incredibly big track, but a big track, right?
Yeah.
So the weight on something that leaves 11 and a half inch track, to leave that, I mean, you're really talking about something that's probably very heavily muscled, in my opinion.
Sure.
Some dense muscle, some real thick skeletal structure. Yeah, I mean, man, it's also impressive to think about 11 and a half. Imagine what, you know,
22-incher.
Yeah, exactly. As I was going to say, you get a 22-incher. Just imagine the weight on something like that. I mean, that's just insane to think about.
Yeah. So this might mean the juvies are just, you know, are really heavy themselves. So that's just something people should be thinking of. You know, like it's not just the adults are heavy. These juveniles, if that's what made that, could be pretty heavy too. And this track was made in one of my my local research areas in the mud. And what I thought was interesting about it was see how skinny that is, especially on the as it's going to the heel.
Yeah.
There. We made a note of that, you know, how because I've seen other tracks, even Dave Ellis. Dave Ellis has some skinny tracks, and he thinks those might be juveniles or possibly female tracks. but they're not wide tracks, but they're very skinny.
Right.
As they taper down. So again, I'm not saying that's a Bigfoot track, but I thought it looked interesting, and I don't know if any people that have skinny feet like that. So
it's very different.
The morphology there is really really strange.
Yeah, I've seen some of these too. Not myself personally, but I've seen
Right.
pictures of these. The guys, Shane Carpenter, those guys, the Ozark Mountain Sasquatch, they've followed a bunch of tracks that look very similar to this over the course of the last few years. And they're of the belief that also that they think it's maybe a female, that these are female prints. I mean, it makes sense. They look more feminine. They look,
Yeah.
you wouldn't expect a female to have a big old Fred Flintstone foot, right?
No, yeah, definitely.
I
And,
want,
obviously as they grow bigger, like if Patty is, if that was real with Patty, that those footprints, they do expand and get wider as they grow older. So I can
well,
understand that.
there's also too the idea that not all of these beings are the same, that they change a little bit from location to location.
Sure, definitely.
So maybe up where you are, I know that we're up where you are, they're supposed to be much bigger, much heavier, bigger, broader shoulders, big legs, wide back, big muscles, all that stuff.
Right.
And then over here where I'm at, they're not supposed to be as heavy. They're supposed to be more lanky, more Native American looking, or maybe even caveman-ish. Whereas I think like the idea is that up there they're more leaning towards a heavier ape looking, like Patty was.
Right.
So there's the change in location can change the way that these things adapt to those locations. And it's also interesting, man. I just, and this is why we get into this stuff, because there's so many unanswered questions, so many mysteries, and it's like, oh, I just want to know more. And when you find something like this, for all those days that you get discouraged and you're like, you know what, like I'm done. I'm not going out anymore. I'm sick of this shit. I'm tired of sleeping out in a tent in the cold. I'm tired of going out when it's raining. I'm tired of standing outside for 5 or 6 hours, walking around for miles and not finding nothing. Then you get something, and all of a sudden that switch is back on. And you're like, all right, here we go. Like now it's going to get hot now.
Exactly. But reality sets in that it's not always going to stay hot.
It's not
go down right away as soon as you get something. But yeah, it does give you a new spark, right? And you want to keep at it and keep at it. That's the thing. That's the other thing too. I think people need to keep at it and at it. Yeah, I've had those days too, man, where I'm like, oh man, nothing's happening. But if you get something, you just got to keep at it. You got to keep going back to these same areas, and you might get something else. You just got to keep at it. And real quick, I do think there might be different species or tribes or races, whatever you want to call it, of these things. Just like any other animal and other species on this planet, everything. There's not just like one set of of the individual species. I think there's different types possibly around the country and world. So.
Yeah,
And like you said, adapting to their specific environments, so that totally makes sense to me. I mean, we have a crap ton of elk here, and we have a lot of mountains around us, mountain goat, all this stuff. So you're right. It would have to those would have to sustain a really large animal, like a big Sasquatch, like what you were just talking about. So,
and it gets cold on top of them mountains there, man. It gets cold. It's horrendous weather.
Absolutely.
Which would mean that, they would have to be bigger. They would have to have more body weight, even more fat to survive through these terrible, like tough storms and winter and all that stuff.
Yeah.
All makes sense, man.
Yeah. The skunk ape wouldn't survive up here. I mean,
no.
Yeah.
But that's a topic for another day, because those things are apparently all over Florida. I mean,
I don't doubt that. I really don't.
Me and Alex talked real quick, and he said to me, and I thought the same thing for a long time. He said, man, for the longest time, I thought there are no Bigfoots in Florida. If there was, there may have been a couple. He's like, I just didn't see it. I couldn't see it. The heat, the humidity, like, I just didn't make sense to me. He goes, but man, after going there, and seeing the stuff that we've seen, and he's like, they're all over that place, man. And I would have to agree, from the shit that I've seen over the last few years, it seems like they are everywhere down there.
Yeah. Well, like how do primates survive in their hot environments? It's like, the gorillas. And how do those guys survive in those kind of temperatures?
Yeah, I suppose that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Real quick, I wanted to say hello. Yar, thank you for coming by the channel, man. I really appreciate it. Grateful that you're here. Give you the real quick spiel that I give everybody. Best chat on the interwebs. The greatest folks ever come to this chat, man. And I live by this. I would bet a limb on it. They're just such amazing people. So I think you'll figure that out. Joe Monk, also, thank you for stopping by, man. I don't think I've ever seen you in the chat. If you're new here, I'm grateful you're here and happy to have you. Stick around. All right, let's scroll, see another one.
Okay.
I could look at these all day, man.
Yeah.
No, same one, right?
Yeah. Well, there's actually two tracks there, so this might be another one, but in that same spot, basically, like in this muddy spot, they're just right there. And this was on a trail. Like, these were found right off the side of a trail, but just in some mud. So kind of like what we were talking about. Like, these guys are probably taking the same trails that we are, just at night and early in the morning, if that's what these tracks are. If that's what they belong to. Yeah,
weird, man. Weird.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Now we're
yeah. So again, like, this is when you go to these lakes where the water is low, you got to find a whole bunch of tracks, and you got to find people tracks, and then you got to find tracks that look like this, and it's just going to make you question, like, is this a human track or is this something else?
This is not human.
Yeah, and then as we were talking about look at the toes and the slippage on it and the depth, it just looked weird to me. But I don't know.
It's very strange, man. This is strange. This doesn't look human to me. Well, look at the way that those toes, they pull back that mud, that dirt, right, and it pulls up right at the crease by the ball, where the ball of the foot would be.
Right.
Then you have that hump in the middle that you could clearly see.
Yeah.
There's a hump there. I mean, that would be what you would call a mid-tarsal break area.
Mm-hmm.
And then a very deep heel impression. This is, I mean, it's just weird.
It's very weird. Yeah, we found some weird tracks out there. And those are the ones I try to show off, the ones I take pictures of and try to show off on these podcasts, because I don't know what's making these tracks. They're very odd.
Well, I think look at this, man. This to me was one of the greatest ones that I looked at, because this right here, this is, you usually find one track or a line of tracks. Very rarely do you find two right next to each other, meaning that whatever this was stood right there in that spot for at least a moment.
Yeah.
And took in its surroundings. I can just picture it in my head. I can picture it standing there. You know what I mean? And it's just amazing. And again, you got that. It's just an odd shape. It's not quite right.
Yeah. I try to look. It doesn't really have an arch in it. So I try to look for tracks that don't have an arch and then really flat, or, really flat looking. And, some people think the toes are scrunched up, but it's like, it's possible that their toes could just, they can grab onto the mud as well. It's not just because maybe they're in shoes, but I'm not saying that's a Bigfoot. Those are Bigfoot tracks there, but it just looked odd to me. And, I didn't really, honestly, I don't remember seeing any other tracks leading up to that. It was just right there. So,
so crazy.
I mean, the shape of it is very oblong. It stood out to me. So I was like, I better take a picture of this.
It looks like, you're right. It is very oblong. It reminds me of, somewhat similar to certain ape tracks. It really does. Yeah. There's some things that are different, but man, it's just weird. And that grip, it looks like they grip. With those toes, man.
Right. Is the grip from those toes being in shoes, or is that just what a natural grip is when it's walking out there? I don't know.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because people say the toes look like that because they're in shoes, but I really don't know. I don't know what's going on with those.
I don't believe that at all. I don't
Yeah.
think so. I mean, when I walk in mud, I've walked in mud many times. I don't curl my toes when I'm walking. I just walk my normal step. It's either it's either that or the toes themselves are very thick. Like the pads on the
Yeah,
bottom are very thick. Maybe.
could be. Yeah, it
Yeah.
could
I don't
be.
know. I don't know. But really
I wish
neat.
I wish I had casting material that day, but we didn't. So
Oh.
I'm kicking myself for that. We didn't have any casting material that day. And
Oh.
this was another track at Bumping Lake. It was just a single track. And again, is it Bigfoot? I don't know, but look at that toe, the big toe
Yeah.
on that.
Very weird.
It's really long. So
Very weird.
and it's very deep in there too. So I don't know. You just got to find
Gosh.
tracks like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so many. We'll just go through these things. Look at this. Look at this thing. Look at this.
I don't. Yeah, that was strange to me. Just the alignment of the toes and how fat it is.
It's so wide.
Yeah,
It's so wide.
and you see a shoe print there, so it's walking in the same area that people do. So
And the toes are almost straight across.
exactly. Yep. Exactly. Yeah, it stood out to me. So I was like, I better take a picture of this. And but I don't know. I can't explain it, dude. You just find these weird ass tracks, and here's another one.
Looks like those toes look like fingers almost.
Exactly right. So
there's a massive, massive break in the middle of that.
Yeah. So there's definitely some slippage going on apparently when this thing is walking around, and yeah, the mid-tarsal break that stood out to me. So I was like, I better take a picture of this too.
Man, somebody says, Joe Monk says maybe Bigfoot likes squishing the mud between his toes. Maybe
it feels good. Maybe it feels after walking in the woods all that time and coming out to the mud, maybe that feels good for them.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, it might feel comfortable walking in that kind of soil.
I like walking.
Yeah, they look like fingers, right? That's what really stood out to me. Yeah, and there you go. There's another flat and wide foot. So again, I try to look for prints that don't have the characteristics of human prints. That's what I try to look for. But
do you remember how big this one was? How long?
I don't remember the measurements of it. See, that's the other thing too. I usually now I do, but there's been times where I don't even put my foot next to it, and I should have. I just like taking a picture of the footprint, but I should always put something there as a reference. I wear a size 9, so if I put my foot there, I don't know. I really don't know how big that was.
I mean, that is so massively wide. It looks like
it's very wide. Yeah.
Even if it's a small print, even if it's a 9-inch print, which would be relatively small for Bigfoot, Sasquatch, whatever.
Yeah.
The width all the way from front to back is just, how many, do you think there's any humans that have feet like that? I mean, there might be, but probably some kind of foot disorder or something.
Right. I mean, yeah. Even the toes there too. The toes look pretty aligned there as well. So I don't know. Yeah, you're right.
Very blocky looking too.
Very blocky. Yeah.
And this is incredible stuff. And this one looks, I mean, look at that. That's the toe, the big toe set back again.
Yeah.
The middle toe is
arch.
Yeah.
Whoa.
No arch, completely flat.
So
unbelievable stuff, man. And then we're back at the beginning.
So yeah, I mean, these guys might have characteristics of humans, but in terms of their morphology, but not totally. You're gonna see some differences there. So it's just something you gotta look for,
For sure. It's just I'm blown away by this stuff, man. The footprints to me and the audio are some of my favorite stuff. I think because the video and the picture stuff is very, very difficult. We know very little about what makes them so difficult to capture on film. We don't know why. We can theorize all we want. Maybe they have these oils on their skin that help reflect light.
Right.
There's the theory that and I've seen pictures of the hairs that look to be refracting colors
Hmm.
under a
Yeah.
microscope, which is just an amazing adaptation if that's the case.
Right.
Then there's also the other theories that they have some abilities that we don't have, that they can potentially cloak themselves, or they emit some sort of something that disorients us enough that we can't see them in the moment. So we don't know enough. So when you
No.
have a picture or video, it's not clear. It's hard to see. It's very kind of, I don't know, that could be a tree stump, or that could be this, that, the other thing. But
Right.
when you have a footprint, there's no arguing that it's a print. It's there, it's clear, you can see it. When you have audio, there's no arguing that there's something there that's not matching up with its surroundings, with every other animal in the forest. That's why those two things for me are my favorite bits of evidence. There's so much you can learn from that stuff. And they're seeming, I mean, obviously the footprints is something that's a little bit more scarce at times. Apparently not at Bumpy Lake, though. But
Well, honestly, like a lot of lakes. I mean, I've seen a bunch of people around
yeah,
the country posting pictures that very similar to what you were just looking at around, lake beds, dried up lakes, or just along shorelines. So,
yeah, you're right. I know I was being kind of a wise ass a little bit, but you're right. I've gotten pictures from people, and numerous pictures that they've sent me have been in mud, right on the side of a creek bed, on the side of a lake or a pond,
exactly.
where
Yeah.
it's dried up. There's something there that's keeping them going back to these places over and over again, and
Eh,
where they obviously they feel safe walking there, maybe
yes.
because they know the water rises and drops, and maybe they're thinking that, okay, it's going to rise again, cover these tracks soon, and people won't find them.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, I recommend people to go out to the lakes and, look on the far side of the lakes where, where you don't see a majority of people at, look on the other side at the lake where the forest is, like where the forest comes to. That's what I try
Yeah,
to look for, the at least possible area where people really don't frequent. Try to look in the, on the opposite sides. And, all these animals frequent lakes, stuff for water and, source of food. So why not Sasquatch? It's very plausible. So,
agreed.
yeah.
um so now I think what I'm going to bring up next is I'm going to bring up some of this audio, because
Okay.
this is what me and Alex initially talked about, was this audio stuff, and that Chris Spencer from the Olympic Project. You sent it to him. You sent it to Dave Ellis and Monongahela also, right?
Yes. Yeah. Hmm.
And every one of them came back and told you, yeah, this is the real deal.
Well,
I mean,
possibly. Yeah.
it's
Possibly.
yeah, it's
I
something
haven't
that
sent, I mean, all the clips you have, I haven't sent all those to these guys, but, just like the chorus audio, I've sent that to everybody. The Pumping Lake chorus audio. And that's probably what Alex was telling Alex and Chris Spencer were probably telling you about, was the chorus audio, which I caught in 2020 at Pumping Lake.
So
It
I'm
was
going to
in,
play the edited version of that, because the unedited is like 20 minutes long, right?
yeah, no, the original audio, it went up for like a half hour, man, at 2 a.m. It
It's
went
crazy.
nonstop for a half hour. So I
Yeah.
had to edit it down for Alex's show, to get to the good stuff. And my mom and I were talking during the original and in the unedited original audio. So I tried to cut those out and just get to the vocalizations. So
All right. So
yeah, go
let's
for it. Play the edited, or even the Search for Strawberry clip from Tate's, because he played that too. So
okay. We'll play this one
one of those.
first,
Yeah.
and then we'll play the Search for Sabe. So this is the late chorus edited version. Let's play this.
Oh, you might have to go to. You might have to scrub a little bit for that. Actually, can you play the Search for Sabe one?
Oh
Because that
yeah.
gets to quicker. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Yeah.
Is it playing? Can they hear that audio? Because I can't even hear it on my end. Is that audio playing through?
What's that?
I can't hear that audio on my end. Is that playing for everybody?
You can't hear it? Can you guys hear that audio? No one can hear it?
I don't know. I can't hear it on my end.
Really?
Yeah.
No one can hear it. Why is it not playing on your end?
I don't know. I can kind of hear it on your end, but I can't hear it on my end.
I don't know why it's not playing on your end. Hold on. Let me see something real quick.
Okay.
Let me see something real quick. Let me try this. Let's see.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, hold on. Let me scrub back then because I don't know why it wasn't doing it before. It's good now? That is ridiculous.
Yeah, 2:00 in the morning, and it woke me up out of sleep. And I had this Tascam recorder on my mother's truck, about 20 feet away from our tent, running, and it just caught these vocals going on, and they were pretty freaking. I mean, I had to amplify this audio, for these podcasts, but hearing that in person was just pretty much exactly what you just heard. Really, really freaking loud, and it just amazed. The vocal range was just amazing, and that was going. I mean, that was only a few, like a minute or so, but this was going on for a half hour. And as you heard, you had some different individuals in there, like high pitched voices and real deep low pitched voice. So if you ever heard the Snohomish recordings from the 1970s, that first whoop howl is very similar to those recordings.
Absolutely. It's amazing. That was one of the first things I noticed was you heard the real loud woo, those ones, and then in the background I was hearing 2, maybe 3 other vocals. Different ranges, different tones. There was one that sounded even like it was singing almost for a minute.
Right. Yeah. Almost like a chorus. It's really, like they are singing possibly. Yeah, exactly.
It's incredible,
possibly man. Females and juvies mixed in. I mean, who knows? But that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, I agree. It definitely did to me too.
And the thing is, the funny thing is my mother, she doesn't have the best hearing, but she didn't hear any of this in person. I had to wake her up and tell her about it, but she couldn't hear it. But I'm telling you, man, it was just nuts. I just couldn't believe it. And I just sat there in my tent. I didn't want to get out of my tent. I just sat there in my tent and listened to this stuff go on for a half hour, and it might have been coming from I think it was coming from a few different places around us, but I think some of those might have been coming from the lake itself. So I don't know.
Wonder what it is, right? So you have this place that is probably very similar to so many other lakes out there and places in the woods. I wonder what it is that makes them choose a place and then be so active there, because this is an active area on all fronts.
Yeah. And it's crazy because people go there to camp. What I brought this up on another podcast. So like, why is something that's so elusive just doesn't give a crap and is able to do these kind of vocalizations? It's with people around. There's campers around hearing this, so it's like, why are they doing that? But again, at the same time, they're just doing their own natural thing, right? They have to do their own natural stuff at the same time. They can't always hide themselves everywhere they go. I mean, this area is their habitat, that's where they live. And so they got to do their thing, and they can't always be afraid of people, and, they can't be themselves is what I'm trying to say, even with people around them. So
yeah, agreed.
And why are they doing that? Who knows? Anybody can come up with any kind of reason why those vocals are occurring. I have no idea. What's the reason for it? Is it something
Linda
happy?
says,
Is it something sad, mournful? But again, I'm not saying it's Bigfoot. Who knows what it is?
Right. Yeah, right. Yeah. Got to
But,
be sure we put that out there.
Yeah, but the thing is, I personally don't think it's an elk or anything like that. So
No.
I think we can kind of knock down the possibilities of what it isn't. So
I don't know any human beings that can do that.
Yeah,
I mean, that was so loud for 30 minutes. It's so loud. It was so powerful. The range was so crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you get high pitches and low pitches at the same time, and again, the lung capacity of them. I can't sustain. Yeah, I can't sing. For that long and for that high. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, on your own time. I don't know if you listen to the unedited thing, but you can hear you get an idea of what else went on for that 20-30 minutes. It's just ridiculous.
You guys got to listen. This is on your channel, correct?
No, I don't have this on my channel. I've only shared this on the podcast. My channel is not even devoted to Bigfoot. It's just personal hobby stuff. Like, my channel is just is fan made cut up trailers of movies and stuff. It's not even Bigfoot stuff.
Okay.
That's the other thing too, man. Like, I don't have a channel. I don't post my stuff online. I just share them on these podcasts.
Well, we're glad you do, because this is amazing stuff.
I mean, I'm happy to share this stuff. It's just that I personally don't really care to have a channel of my Bigfoot in. I just don't. I don't know.
Are you okay if I share the whole unedited version of that on the channel?
Or
no? It's okay if you say no.
I mean, I'm not hiding. I'm not trying. The only thing, I'm not trying to hide anything. The only thing is, I don't think my mother and I talking during it is very interesting to listen to, and I do swear during that, but I don't mind it. If you want to, go ahead. But
the only reason I ask is there's a couple people in the chat were asking where they could listen to the original version.
I understand.
But it's okay. It's no big deal. I mean, I don't want to, I shouldn't even ask that right now, honestly. I should ask you off the air.
Fine. No, it's a valid question. It's totally fine.
But yeah, this is just incredible stuff, and this is not it. There's more of this.
No, that clip is from Tate's Search for Sabe documentary. He took some of the best parts of it there, but that's not the full recording at all. I mean, we're talking a half hour. So
yeah, and there's more audio though, people. There's still more audio.
Just that. I've cut a lot of other stuff at Bumping Lake.
Hold on, we'll play some of that now. I'm gonna play this clip of the chatter speech because some of this. Let's see, which one should I play? I think I like. Which one was the one you were telling me with that weird feedback sound?
So yeah, you can play my very first audio recording. You can go to Bigfoot, go under growls under audio and go to Bigfoot Messes with Recorder updated. I tried to update that for this podcast. I tried to amplify it a little bit. I hope I didn't amplify it too much, but that was
Okay.
that was that first recording I was talking about at the beginning, up on the hill.
All right, so let's play that because this is very weird.
Yeah. Okay.
This is very weird. Hold on, let me do this.
And this is not the full recording. This is an edited version, so that because there was some silent parts in between these, so I just tried to put them all together. Try to put the good stuff all together.
Right. Let me get out of here and minimize you. They don't make this just simple. It's always a chore.
Yeah, I know it's technology, man.
Okay, here we go. Now we're good. All right, ready? Let's do it.
So at the beginning there was that feedback sound. I know it's kind of quick, but there was that whoomp kind of a sound. Yeah, I think you're muted. Kyle. There you go.
I am. There we go.
There
I was
we go.
trying to mute it because the cat was meowing in the background, and I didn't want anyone to go, "Oh, wait, I hear a cat too."
That might have scared your cat if it heard it.
Maybe I will if he starts making noise tonight. I'll play that for him.
Yeah, there you go.
Just weird, man. So strange. Whatever it is, it just to me, I get this feeling that it's powerful. It's emitting something that's I don't know. It was just very strange, that noise, that boom, like what the hell does that?
And other people have caught that on their recorders, that kind of feedback sound. And what is it? Is it infrasound or something else? I don't know.
Yeah.
And again, like this recorder was intact, man. There was no scratches, nothing on it. I didn't, when I picked it up, I didn't think anything messed with it, or I didn't think anything hurt it till I listened to it.
Crazy.
And then you hear that. So if this was a bear, I wouldn't have been able to listen to it, in my opinion. Like that thing would have been torn to bits.
Absolutely. You would have found teeth marks all over it, even if it wasn't destroyed, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I would have found, you're right. I would have found teeth marks, and there was none of that on there.
It's so weird, man.
It was just fumbling with it, and then it just got tired of it and just leaves. And that's what happens. And in that big growl in the middle of it there, that was, I thought that was crazy.
Yeah,
really
cool.
I think it sees the recorder or it senses it at that point, and that's when it comes over.
It's so weird, man.
Yeah, it was very strange.
I want to play this chatter stuff because we were talking about this earlier, and I think this is okay. So this stuff to me in tone and inflection sounds very similar to Sierra sounds, but you mentioned it to me, and I agree with you. it sounds more like a native tongue, sounds more like native speech in a way.
Yeah. That's the
So
best way to just. That's the best way to describe it, in my opinion. I mean, for these recordings.
yeah, I agree. So we're gonna play a few of these because these are really interesting. So let's play this one now. Wait, no, I gotta do this first. Minimize, and God, I wish they just made this easier so that you could just scroll to the next one.
Yeah, I know it is. It is difficult.
Here we go. Okay. Let me play that over again because it's short.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the other thing too, is like I'll get these really short utterances and that's it. You won't get like a long string of, chattering. It'll just be like, you hear a little thing and that's all there is.
Right.
So, and yeah, this was recorded at a spot at Bumping Lake at one of the camps that we go to. And this was recorded up on this little hill behind our campsite. That's kind of overlooks our campsite. It's like a little hill where something could probably perch and watch us at the campfire below. So that's what I was doing. I was placing this task cam up on this hill, away from our camp, and I had it pointed towards a wood line. And whatever. That's the other thing too. Whatever sounds coming in close on this is not one of us. It's because we're at the campfire at this point. So I personally think if these are Sasquatch, these might be juveniles coming in and watching us, and then you get to hear them on these recorders. But maybe they notice it or not. I have no idea. But I do think a lot of this stuff might be juveniles.
Yeah.
So
I think this is a theory that a lot of people share because, again, you're not finding large prints in these areas. You're finding smaller ones, more the narrow ones, like people think the female tracks. So it would make sense that maybe mom and the kids are coming in, or maybe it's a female juvenile and a male juvenile, whatever.
Sure.
But it all lines up with the childlike behavior. They're mischievous. They're not scared of anything because they're kids. They don't get it yet, right? They're curious. They want to know what's going on. Who are these hairless monkeys and what are they doing? Let's go mess with them a little bit and have some fun. And then, I've heard stories from people in this field who've had these interactions where the juveniles have come, directly into camp, gotten really, really brave, and to the point where mom and dad, or dad had to come in and stop them and say, hey, like, you better get your little behinds back in the woods because now you're too close. And those are rare. That this doesn't happen often, but it makes sense. It'd be just like, you and me when we were kids. If we got out of line and you were doing something you weren't supposed to, dad come after you. If mom yelled for you, you didn't answer, I'm getting your father. And then when dad comes, it's time to hightail back inside.
And teenagers sneaking out of the house at night, what do they do? So it's the same kind of mentality in a way. So it's
absolutely.
The other thing is, like, you'll find handprint. The other thing is you'll find handprints, fingerprints on your trucks, on your vehicles. And we've had that a lot. And we have that kind of like what Doug was talking about, that oil, that white oil substance. We found that on our vehicles as well. So, maybe that's juveniles doing that. It's very possible.
Did I not share that I didn't hear. Okay, so I want to share that now real quick because this is the hand cast.
I got that.
This is another amazing picture. You have that right there.
Yeah, I got the cast right here.
Look at this thing. Let me unshare this. Look at
this was this was at Bumping Lake, and as you can see, like the thumb is not really opposable. It's very
Short.
close to there, and it just looks weird. And the fingers there, it just looks like a weird handprint. And very wide. See how wide that is? So it's not like mine.
It's not normal.
No,
it's not normal.
Yeah, and these were found near where we got cast of butt prints as well. I think I got that with me too.
No way.
Yeah, I think I got that with me. Me and another researcher we casted 2 different butt prints. One was possibly a female and one was a male. I think we have the female one here.
This is incredible. I mean, tell me this is not just some of the most incredible stuff you guys have seen. It really is.
I know it's gonna be hard to show on here, but that's
look at that. I can see it, and I see it.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise, look at that. That is incredible, man.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I don't know, man. So somebody naked sat out there in the mud and just had a good time. But
good Lord. I'm going to get back to the chatter real quick too, and I know.
Go for it.
But I want to show the scat picture because I thought this scat picture was just ridiculous.
Yep, I got that.
That's what I mean. Too. There's so much. There's just so much here. It's like, God, Lord. I got to get out there, man. I mean, I don't know if I've been this excited in such a long time. Cheeks for days. Val says, what's that?
People have been casting a lot of stuff out here in Washington State, the Skookum cast and all this
right.
stuff. So, yeah.
Right.
No, you definitely should. Yeah, you guys come out here. I mean, that'll be great.
I would love to get out there. That sounds amazing. Val, this is funny. Cheeks for days. Big Sister says Bigfoot ass shots. Nice, Tristan.
It's not just big feet, right?
That's right. Look at this, man. This scat is just ridiculous.
Yeah, you can show the pictures and I'll get it out.
This is ridiculous.
So my mother found this scat in Greenwater about 20 feet away from a gifting stump that she had out. And it was just sitting there and she picked it up and brought it home. And we've had it in the freezer for about 5 years or so. Let's see, I think I got gloves.
Here, I'll show the picture real quick.
Yeah, show the picture.
This. Look at that. Look at the size of that. We have stored scat. Yes, we do. I would have it stored also. Look at this. Look at this, man.
It's never been tested. We've never taken it to any scientist to test it.
Did it smell terrible?
It doesn't smell. There's no smell to it. Maybe when she picked it up, there was a smell, but I don't know.
I mean, that's a dump, man.
Yeah.
That is a dump. That if any
I'm good. It's all good.
If any human, there's a human on the planet that could do that, you should see a doctor immediately. Right? I mean, that doesn't look like any poo that I know of from any known animal either.
No, is it a black bear? I don't know, but I've never seen black bear scat like that. We don't have any grizzlies on this side as far as I know, so I don't know anything that large that can produce that kind of scat. But who knows?
Goodness, that is just. I mean, I not often do we get into doo-doo on this show, but I think this was worth getting into because this is just insane.
So I mean, if it's a bear, that's a big bear.
That's a very big bear.
Very big bear.
It's the coincidence, right? That it's not far from where the gifting stump was.
Yeah. She was very. Yeah, we were wondering if that was related to the food that she was leaving out, but in the pictures, it looks like it was in there been there for a while, so I don't know if it was very fresh when she found it. You know, there's a little bit of discoloration when she found it, so it might have been out there for a while. What was the question? Could you see any bones?
Yeah.
I did not see any bones, but if you look at the picture, there was some fibers, you know, like some grasses and things sticking out of it. But I did not see any bones or any kind of hair, you know, like fur sticking out of it. So I really don't know.
But again, so we don't know.
Right.
We don't know what their digestive system is like. We don't know if they can digest hair where other animals can't. We don't know if they break down bones,
Exactly.
or if they even eat them. Who knows if they eat bones? I mean, if they're like us, they're going to eat off the bone. They're not going to eat the bone itself.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
They'll probably gnaw on the bone, but they won't. You know, they won't. It's not like a porcupine where it's going to eat the bones. You know, it's not going to be
right. Right. Linda, what does your mom feed them?
What does your mom feed them? She. Well, we've been trying peanut butter. Honestly, you could try anything. I mean, you know, people will tell you that. Try anything and see what sticks. You know, and see if something eats it or not. She puts bananas out there. Bananas have been gone, but who knows if that's a Bigfoot taking the bananas. She'll leave pies out there, apple pies, blueberry pies, like anything. You know, potato chips, bag of potatoes.
Where is this location? Next time I need a snack break, maybe I'll swing by.
Well, this cat was in Greenwater, but I mean, just anywhere you want to try to habituate, you know, leave food out. I mean, obviously, you got to get all the. You're not just. Obviously, you got to get bear and other animals as well. It's just, you know, you just got to try it though and see what happens.
Yeah, agree.
But the funny thing is, you know, we put game cameras out. We get bears sometimes on the game cameras and plot watchers. We leave plot watchers out. You know, you'll get elk and bobcat and bears on them, but not all the time. Sometimes you'll get the food will be gone, but you don't even see what ate the food. So what is doing that? I have no idea. You know, we get blackouts and whiteouts on our game cameras sometimes. So what is doing that?
That's the riddle.
Yeah.
That's the riddle. This is with these weird things that just happen to happen at the right time, right?
Right.
So strange, man. I'm just going to play a few more of this, of some of these audio clips, and then we'll get you out of here. It's been about an hour and a half, and I get to get going too soon. But I just, man, like I said, there's so much of this stuff that this could be 2 shows in itself because
yeah. Well, the speech audio is my favorite, to be honest. So, like, if you want to go through some of that, go for it, man. Because I think the speech audio is pretty interesting. So.
Yeah, let's do that then. We'll go through the speech because I am in agreement with you. I think these are some of the coolest. So let's do the close chatter.
Sure.
Let's do the close chatter. I need to do that again. That again. That again. I think I must be doing this wrong. There's got to be a way that I can just scrub through this.
Yeah, I really wish I could help you with that. I really don't know how to work Google Drive and this at the same time. So
yeah, there's got to be a way. I'm just not sure how. Maybe I'll hold on. Okay.
Yeah, but I'll just comment on the speech audio. Like we were saying, it sounds more like a native kind of a language as opposed to the samurai chatter that Ron Moorhead has, and that. I'm not saying at all that what Ron has is not Bigfoot or not legit. I'm just saying, kind of like what you and I were talking about earlier, we might be dealing with different tribes or species or races of these things, if that's what it is. So,
yeah, sure. And you know, maybe even if they're not a different race, but they had a close interaction with a tribe of Native Americans for a long time in this area, whereas 100 miles south, the ones down there didn't. Then maybe they picked up on some speech patterns up north, and the ones down south. You know what I mean? Like there's all these little things that could contribute to this stuff, you know, that you can think about. But,
yeah, and we've had mimics. As well at camp. There was one time at camp where one of my friends went woo-ha, and then I actually heard this in person. You can hear something on the hill above us pretty much mimic what he did. It would go woo-ha, and I got that on the recorder as well. So they can possibly mimic too if that's what we're dealing with.
Oh, I agree 100% because the greatest day that I ever had in the woods in the area that I'm in was, this is no joke. It was like an hour and 45 minutes. I think most of the people in this chat were there that day. I started singing. Someone said sing. I sat down. I don't have a voice, bro. I can't sing worth a dog crap. But I said, all right, this will be the first time I probably ever sang in front of anybody, but I'm going to do it for the sake of this. I started singing. And when I started singing, I started getting knocks from 2 different locations, and they were rhythmic. They weren't just knocks, they were rhythmic.
Yeah.
And that made the hairs of my arms stand up. And I'm like, something's going on here.
That's interesting.
Then I started hearing noises in the bushes, right up over this ridge line. Then I would whistle. They would whistle back. And sounded like they were trying to mimic the exact whistles that I was doing.
Oh, interesting.
It was just slightly off. And this was all live. I mean, I was using my iPhone. I didn't have an external mic. So a lot of it was a little difficult to hear, but I think most people heard most of it. And it was like an hour and 45 minutes of this, bro. I mean, it went on forever.
Really? That's interesting.
Forever, man. There would be pauses.
Sure.
Like you'd have a couple minutes where it would go quiet. Nothing would happen for 10, 15 minutes. And then all of a sudden, hear one knock. And when the knock would happen, I'd sing again. It was almost like singing was what we got, whatever this was whatever got this activity to ramp up every time I sang.
Oh.
I don't know why, because I'm no Luther Vandross. I'm not a singer by trade. There's a reason for that, but man, it was the craziest thing. But so I agree with you, the mimicking 100%. I heard on the way out, one of the last times I was there, because it's been rainy and crappy here, we had a really weird snowstorm. We hadn't had snow all winter, which is not normal for us. We usually get like a good amount of snow here. We hadn't had snow all winter, and then all of a sudden I was out there, and we were supposed to get like maybe some flurries. Well, it started snowing when I was in the woods, and I had gone way outside my normal area because things were really quiet, and I was like, well, I'll just hike somewhere else. On the way back, I was walking out, and right as I got to the exit of the trail road to get into the parking lot, which again, mind you, this parking lot, you have to drive inside the forest, and then there's a parking lot that just kind of opens up where you're surrounded by the state forest.
Oh.
And so I'm walking out the trail road out of the forest into the parking lot, and right as I'm getting out, I hear this one loud whistle that went, and it held that last bit. So it didn't sound like a bird at all. It sounded like a human. Yeah. Then I heard a very loud whoop and a break. Something broke really loud.
Oh, interesting.
And I thought 100%, like I thought for sure that there was people out there, that there must have been people. I kept saying, I was like, there's got to be a person over there. It was just the way it sounded. I'm like, there's got to be a person over there. The break and the whoop were a little weird, but the whistle, I was like, someone's whistling out here. There's nobody there.
Yeah.
And the other crazy part about that was on my car, on the back of my car, on the window, underneath the snow, were 4 small sticks that made this weird, like, glyph thing.
Wow.
And again, all on live. This was all live streamed.
Wow.
From the moment I got there in the car to the moment I got back to the car. Yeah, it was weird, man.
That's wild. Weird. I'll have to check that out. Was that a while ago when that happened?
It was probably, gosh, I would say it had to have been late February, maybe.
Oh, this year?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Crazy
I'll check
stuff,
that out. I'm curious to see that.
Just the very end. So if you see that live, my lives are really long. I mean, I'm out there for 3 hours sometimes, 3.5. So it's the very, very, very end of that. And I think on the title, it says something about the glyph in it. Oh, okay. So if you see it, just scrub right to the end, the last like 10 or 15 minutes, maybe.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
anyway,
I will for sure. Yeah, I'm curious to check that out.
but
Yeah, it's really neat that you caught that out live. That's really neat.
I go. That's it's one of the reasons I do the live, and
Yeah, it's
I
good.
don't edit because for a lot of people, like I didn't realize that there's so many people out there that don't have the ability to go out and do this stuff. Whether it's because of a physical, they don't have the physical ability, they
Right.
have some kind of handicap of some sort. Some people just don't live in areas where they have any of this stuff, and
Right.
so when one person said to me like, you have no idea how much it means to me that you do this because I'm able to go out there with you on these days, right? And it was like, damn, I thought I was doing this silly little YouTube thing that meant nothing. And then somebody says that, it kind of hits you in that spot, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I said, that was one of the biggest reasons I continued to do the lives was that. And then I love the interaction with the chat. I think it's, one of the funnest parts about this. But also, then if I'm going live from the moment I get there to the moment I leave, there's nothing, there's no editing, there's no nothing, no tricks, nobody can say shit. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And most of the time it doesn't. Most of the time it's just a walk through the woods.
Yep.
But on those times that it does, whoever's watching is there with me when it's happening. And I think that's really cool.
I agree. I think that's really important too.
Yeah.
If somebody gives you crap for something, you can say, "Hey, look, go look at the live stream. There's no cuts or anything. You go right ahead and look at it."
Yeah, watch the whole 3 hours and 45 minutes.
Well, yeah, or get to that, or get to this timestamp. But yeah, exactly. That's cool.
God.
That's cool that you're live and you're able to catch that when that happens, and people are able to see that with you and experience it the same time you are. So I think that's really neat.
I'm very fortunate because I think in a lot of these areas that you have to go to do this, there's no service.
Oh yeah, no.
I'm sure there's none where you are.
Nope, not in the areas that I go to. There's no service. Nope.
Yeah.
Little Bumping Lake, you don't get any service out there. So good luck.
Right. So
You're
I'm very
a satellite
fortunate.
phone or something, but yeah.
Right. Yeah. I'm very fortunate that I'm able to do it here in the state forest. I mean, it's not compared to most places, it's not big, but for here, it's massive. I mean, it's 13,000 acres. That's massive for the state. This is not a very big state. And it's actually it borders up to Rhode Island. And in what it borders up to in Rhode Island is this place called the Arcadia Management Area. This is where Finding Bigfoot went for that episode in Rhode Island. It's also a place where a couple of Alex's friends have done investigations into sightings in that area many times. So they share literally the same land. The only thing that separates them is the imaginary line between where the Connecticut State Forest ends and that forest, begins in Rhode Island. So, activity there, man.
Yeah, in the forest, like just look out your window and see all this forest around you. Like it's crazy. It's crazy to see all that around you. And a lot of it's never been explored too. So it's very possible for something like this to exist in these mountains and forests around you. We don't know everything. Kind of like I think you said this on one of your earlier podcasts. We don't know everything about this world and beyond. So I think that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing that we don't know everything.
I do too. I agree. I do too. I think it'd probably make things a little more boring if we did.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's play this. We're going on an hour and 40.
Okay.
I don't want to keep you here all night, and I got to get to bed too. A long day yesterday in New York City, 92 degrees for 11 hours, whatever the hell it was, killed me.
Oh man.
I'm not young anymore. All right, close chatter. Let's play this, guys. This is awesome. Here we go. One more time. It does. It sounds so Native American.
Yeah, I mean, I know it sounds like a person almost talking, but I can't discern anything in that speech there, so I don't know. You know what I mean? Like I can't tell what words are being spoken there. So there's actually at the end of it, there's like something in the background going Wohol, something like responding to it. So I don't know.
Let me play that again because I don't know if I caught that part. Let me play that again. Where are you?
Is it not playing again, or it won't let you play it? That's weird.
I don't know why it's being silly again. What the hell's going on here? Is this it? Can you hear that?
I can't. I mean, your music player's not even playing. Are you able to do it through the music player? The one that's on the screen?
Yeah, hold on. Let's do this. Let's do that. Okay, here we go. Let's try this again. Pause that. And then do this. I wish they made this just much easier to do, but you have to keep clicking in and out of these things over and over.
Okay. Yeah.
And then share screen, share this, share that. Here we go. All right, let's try it one more time. And okay. Yeah, I heard it that time.
Yeah.
Yep. Heard it that time. That's so crazy, man. All right, next one. Shared. And that's going to be the bonk in chatter. I feel like I need someone to give me a tutorial on this.
Yeah, I wish I could help you with that.
No, you're good, buddy. You're good. It's not your fault.
Yeah.
I'm probably just illiterate with this stuff, but bonk and chatter. Here we go. 6 seconds.
So it almost sounds like something throws something at the recorder, and then you hear whatever it did it make a response. Yeah. I don't know.
So weird, man.
It's very weird. Yeah, it's
that weird grunt, like rah, rah.
Yeah, like I was gonna say, like there's like these weird utterances, you know. It's
very strange.
Almost like a bark. Yeah, it's kind of like a rap, kind of a bark kind of thing.
Mary says it sounds like a mix of Asian and Native American. Yeah, I can see it. Sounds like a chat in the Star Bar. What the hell's that?
I don't know what that means.
They want me to play it again. Let me play that again one more time. Let me play that again so that you guys. I know it's quick, so.
I know. Yeah, it's quick stuff. I know.
Well, it's our. I mean, this is just what you get, you know. It's
yeah, it is. That's what I'm saying. Like they're just utterance stuff that real quick stuff that you get on the audio.
Yeah, Val says her cat didn't like that one. Someone says it sounds like Yoda. Another person said Star Wars.
It does kind of sound like Yoda. Yep, I agree.
I hear, yeah, I almost can hear when they're some of the conversations when they're in the cantina, and they're some of those weird aliens are talking to each other.
Yep.
All right, let's play this one.
That's not where I got this from. This is all out in the woods. So all right, what's doing that? I don't know.
Let's play this one more time. And here we go. I hear you. I hear Yoda too. Now I do. I get it. So weird, man.
Can you play the one that says chatter exchange with clacking? Can you play that one?
I sure can. Chatter exchange with clacking.
Okay. It's towards the bottom, I think.
Yep, this is it right here. All right.
I think this one's my favorite. This is the one I'm thinking of.
Let's. Mm-hmm. Okay, here we go. One more time. So neat, man. The clacking definitely sounds like rocks. And then there's that. It's like ooh, yeah, ooh, or something like right after that.
Exactly. And then it sounds like possibly a female in the background, like multiple individuals there. And again, we didn't hear any of this in person. This was all on the recorder up in the woods there behind our camp. This was going on right behind our camp. Up in the woods there.
Amazing, man.
The fact that we didn't hear any of this in person, it just blows. When you listen back on the recorder and you hear this stuff, it just blows your mind. Like, what the heck is going on back there?
This is just amazing.
That's what's crazy about it.
I'm going to play one piece of video and then we'll get you out of here because we could be here for another 45 minutes playing.
I know there is a lot of files. There is a lot.
God bless you, though. I'm telling you, this is amazing. It really is truly amazing stuff. But I want to play this video clip, because I think it's really interesting. I'll give my little dictation on it when it's over, but I want to see what everybody else thinks. I think it's very interesting. I think you probably know what I'm talking about. The all fours.
All fours, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. This is super interesting to me. Yeah, okay, here we go. Come on, baby. All right. Here it is.
Right on.
Check this out, guys. Right up behind that green stuff that comes up from the bottom of the screen, where you see that light coming through the trees, that's where you're going to see this.
Excuse me.
Whoa. This is so interesting to me.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, this was filmed on a plot watcher. A plot watcher is a camera that takes time-lapse photos over time. So basically, every 5 seconds or so, it will take a photo, and then when you watch it back, it will look like a time-lapse video, and that's what's going on here. So I had to slow it down. So my frame 352, the thing in the middle is what I call 352, like in the Patterson film, where you see the thing in the middle there. It looks like something on all fours, and to me, it looks like a humanoid shape and not a bear shape. And that stood out to me, and that's why I made a clip of it. I clipped it out. So
I agree 100% with you. I think what you're seeing here is longer, skinnier limbs, not stubby bear arms and legs or whatever you want to call them, right? This has length to it. These things have length to it. You can almost see the back is kind of pitched like this, the head down forward,
right,
as it's moving.
It almost looks like a gorilla, man. Like when I first saw that, it's like, whoa, that's like a gorilla walking almost. It's like hunched over, and I mean, yeah, you can see the head, the shoulders, the back, and it looks like it's arched over, like on all fours. So
yeah, I agree. I'm gonna play it again because this is so interesting. I very rarely come across video and picture evidence that I look at and I go, okay, wow, that's But that to me, like I'm seeing arms, man. I'm seeing like knuckle walking.
Yeah, exactly. That's what. Yeah, exactly. And the reason why we put a camera at that spot is because we saw a lot of a lot of impressions on the ground, a lot of traffic going through there. So we put this plot watcher up in hopes to getting something.
Look at that.
Because we've actually put cameras at that spot where that thing is walking, game cameras, and they've been whited out and blacked out, and they would go back to normal again. So something passes through there that's distorting the cameras. And another interesting thing about this is that about a few months after I took this was in August of 2020 when I took this. A few months later, we tried putting a plot watcher again in that same spot, and I had a recorder up on this hill above us. This is in a gully down below this hill, and I put a recorder up on the stump above us, and I had it recording as my mother and I were putting up another plot watcher, and we caught these voices on the recorder, and I couldn't send it to you because they were kind of far away and they're kind of it's not the best audio quality, but you can hear at least a couple individuals talking to each other. And again, it sounds like that language that you were just listening to a few minutes ago. So it's, if they were Sasquatch, they're probably watching us from above, putting up this plot watcher. So I don't know.
Unbelievable, man.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
So that's the other thing too. People should probably be aware of that. These things might be watching you put these, putting up the equipment. Maybe that's why they're avoiding it, because they're watching you guys put up equipment. So that's very plausible.
Yeah, why not? They watch us do a whole bunch of other stuff. I mean, it would make sense. If I had some dude standing outside my house and he started hanging shit in my trees, I'd be a little bit skeptical of what the hell he was doing too. I'd watch him pretty closely myself.
Yeah, I mean, this is their house that we're in, so it's that is their property. Yeah,
it's their living room, man. I mean,
it is the living room. You're right.
Someone comes into my living room, starts hanging shit on my walls, I'm going to be,
you're going to notice it, right?
You're going to notice it right away. Exactly.
Yeah, something.
I don't think a lot of people. I think that's taken for granted. Is because the woods are so big, but to them, if this is where they live, they are there all the time. Plus, they're connected to nature in a way that we aren't anymore.
Right.
Their observation abilities and techniques are going to be much different than yours and mine are. They're going to notice the littlest things. They have to hunt for their food. They have to hide from, man or, whatever it is they're hiding from. They have to protect their young every single day from other predators. And absolutely. I mean, it's a different life. So it's just, man, I don't know. It's amazing. This clip is just, I'm telling you, it's astounding. When I looked at it, I have to be honest with you, I'm very skeptical of video shit. It's just because of the way it is. Like, there's just not a lot of good stuff out there. And then there's stuff that's obviously been hoaxed. People do that shit. I don't know why they do it, but I looked at this and I thought what you thought. I said, what I'm seeing on the screen right now looks like an ape.
Yeah.
Knuckle walking.
Yeah. Totally walking on all fours, possibly knuckle walking.
Yep, it had the same exact shape. That the back is sloped, it's leaning forward, the head's down in between the shoulders and the chest.
Yeah.
And the limbs. That's the other thing that really just got me. Were the limbs? They were long. These were not. This was not a bear.
No, and we have black bear in that very area, that whole area that we have black bear, and I've seen a black bear before in that area, but this
moves way different.
Oh yeah, totally. Like, this did not look normal to me, so I knew this stood out, and
I got a question for you. Actually, I think someone asked it. I was going to ask this, but somebody asked it. Is there a way to gauge distance and time and like how fast this covers this distance in this video?
That's a good question, man. I really don't know how to figure that out. I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, again, we're doing with a time lapse video. Maybe I can go back and look at the time on the camera when it happened, but I can't. I don't know how fast that thing is going, but it might be going pretty fast. If this thing's taking photos every 3 to 5 seconds or so, and it's playing it back. I wish it was a full video, like a game camera video. I really wish we could get something like that, but
But
You know,
listen,
you have to be at this kind of distance to get a plot watcher. You know, it's and the other unfortunate thing is plot watchers don't have night vision like a game camera, so this only takes photos during the day. You only get, you know, when there's light out, basically. So that's the
right.
drawback of it. And again, I know this is blurry. I know it's pixelated. It's 720p. The resolution is, and this was taken far away from the subject, so I had to, you know, I had to zoom in on it. So it's like
This
it's
is
hard,
what you
man.
get, man.
It,
This
yeah,
is what
it
we
is. It's hard.
get. It's
It's
and
hard.
I think it's amazing. Yeah. Fresh says, despite that, it's incredible evidence. I couldn't agree more. I really do think it's amazing.
Yeah.
Um, you know, why is a gorilla in a national park? Yeah, right. There's no gorillas in the USA, so you figure it out.
Right.
Um,
Well,
well,
that also with their long arms. I mean, why do they have long arms? I always thought of that. Like, what is the purpose of them having long arms? To
well,
maybe go on all fours, possibly,
right.
right? So
Exactly. So they can move in both ways. So they can stay. Be these guys stand upright and walk bipedally, but they also can travel on all fours. I've heard many stories where people say they move better on all fours.
yeah, I've heard that too. Yeah,
You know, so
over
makes
more distance
sense.
that way. Yeah,
Right. Yeah. I mean,
they
you
need to.
saw. I know you've seen that video of that Russian bounding one.
I
I
have.
mean,
Yeah,
that right there, it traverses that crazy area with logs and rocks and all that stuff, and it's so fast, it leaps so far and so high, and then it's
right,
on all fours, moving at a speed that is incredible,
right. Yeah, I know.
incredible.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, this is man, this has been amazing. I really am so glad that you came on the show.
yeah. I enjoyed being
You're
on it.
you're on it, bro. You're on
Yeah,
it. I mean, you
I'm
this is
trying. I'm trying, just like everybody else is. I'm trying. You know, I'm nobody special. I'm not an expert. I'm just putting stuff out there, just like everybody else is. So
yeah, well, I mean, I get that, but there's the whatever it is, right?
yeah,
And call it luck, call it whatever you will. You got an area that's highly active. You're finding incredible evidence, and you're not out here claiming it to be anything. You're saying
nope.
it's strange, it's weird, I don't know what it is, which I think honestly lends itself to your credibility even more. And I appreciate that. People know me. If you watch the show, you know that I get really ticked off when people come and say, you know, this is fact, this is fact, this is fact, because none of it's fact. Until you got a
Right.
body, there's no fact. Matter of fact, in one body probably ain't going to do it anyway. It would have to be multiples, especially if these are all different. There's just not going to be, you're not going to get every answer you need from one if they have different traits and different features and all that stuff. And I
Exactly.
don't really care to see that happen, to be completely honest with you. I don't. I'm fine with learning a little bit more piecemeal as we go with what they're giving us. I don't, if they are related to us genetically, then killing one of them is a humanitarian issue. This is crossing lines now. You're talking about murder. This is
Right.
not, if they are a distant relative of ours, you're talking about murder. If we share 98% DNA with these things, that means they are 98% human,
Yeah.
right? They have
Yeah.
98% human in them. That is murder. I don't care to kill them. That's just me personally. I
Yeah. Me too.
understand where people are coming from,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't. That's not my stance. I'd rather let them live and let live, do what they do. I'm happy going into the woods and continuing to play this game of hide and seek and and keeping the mystery alive. I think that's one of the funnest parts of this thing, man.
I agree. It is fun. You know, it's all part. It's more pieces of a puzzle, right? And who knows if we'll ever put the puzzle together, you know, completely. It's just fun being out there and collecting data on it. And real quick, we have, in Washington here, we have some ordinances in certain counties where if you kill a Bigfoot, you'll go to jail and have a fine with it. So there are, you know, there's counties around here that it's very serious where if you kill one, that you know you'll you'll take some time. You know what I mean?
Well,
So
good. It should be
yeah,
like that everywhere, man. I think it should be like that everywhere. And that's not the only place. There's places in Canada that have that. There's places I
sure,
believe, excuse me, down south that have these laws that you cannot harm one or hurt one or murder one.
right.
Yeah, it's but yeah, it's too bad. And you're right, guys. Unfortunately, no wonder why they hide. Bernie says, sadly, murder has always been an option in our social history. Yeah, you're right. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
Well, I don't think we need a body to really prove it. If we can get like National Geographic type of video of them, I think that might be even good enough. But now we got this AI crap to deal with, all
No,
this
God, I
hoaxing
know.
through AI and everything. So it's just going to make things more complicated now. But
I know. It's unfortunate, man.
More things we got to deal with,
Yeah,
in this
it's unfortunate, but hey, this is life. This is the way it's going.
Yep.
Well, listen, man, I really appreciate this. This was wonderful. Maybe we get you back on the show again. We could show the rest of the stuff and
Sure.
and talk about some other things too. But I wanted to get most of this.
Oh, sure.
Most of the stuff you sent me out there, but maybe we'll have you back on, finish the evidence, and then we can talk about a little bit of maybe theories and stuff like that when you have you back on.
Sure. Yeah. That'll be great. That sounds great. And
Awesome.
Thanks for having me. Yeah. Thanks for having me on, Kyle. I really had a great time.
Yeah, me too, man. I really appreciate this. This was wonderful. You were great, and I'll be happy to have you back on anytime. Guys, thank you for being here. Everybody in the chat loved you. I mean, it's you can read it if you want, but they said it. Great show.
Cool.
I say it all the time. It's not me. It's the guest. The guest. I'm just here to ask questions. It's all the guest, and so thank you, Tristan, for being here. Thank you for sharing all this with us. It's been amazing. I'll be back on. What's today? Friday?
Yep. Today's Friday the 14th.
Oh shit! It is.
Yeah.
Wait. Oh, the 14th. Oh, damn! I'm like Friday the 13th. Damn.
No, 14th.
It's 14th. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Friday 14th.
And it's really weird. I've had bad luck on the Friday the 13th. I know that seems very, very but we have car crash one year, all kind of crazy shit. But anyway, that's a topic for another time. I'll be back on the 18th. Darkwoods will be here on the 18th. And then next, the 20th, what is that? Wednesday or Thursday? I think it's Thursday. Mr. John Horrigan will be here. 5-time Emmy-winning producer, writer, narrator. One of the greatest voices you'll ever hear. I mean, this guy, his voice is like when you those guys who are made to do TV and radio. This is him. Art Bell. Like this is John Horrigan. This is the voice that this man has. It's one of the best voices I've ever heard.
Awesome.
And he has been doing this stuff, like he's been researching this stuff for 40 years. 40 years. He has 40 years of knowledge of accounts. He's been to Area 51, I think 3 or 5 times. He's been to multiple different Air Force bases and Army bases where there's been UFO activity to go there and research it.
Cool.
He was the last person to ever interview Betty Hill, who was the very first alien abductee on record. Okay. This guy's been everywhere, done it all. So fantastic. Yeah, it's going to be a good couple shows. These last 3, this one, I mean, they've been great, all of them, but this is with all this evidence. Darkwoods is going to bring some crazy stuff on apparently, and then John has just it's a lifetime of stuff. So make sure you tune in. Tristan, thank you, buddy. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you so much, Colin, and thank you for bringing people like me on here to share stuff with people. I think that's a great platform. So
I appreciate
that. We do appreciate that you're able to do that. So thank you.
Well, it's important, man. It really is.
It is.
And
I agree.
People like me, I love this stuff. So anytime I can get somebody like yourself on, it's a pleasure. So
absolutely.
Till next time, guys, I'll see you on the 18th. Actually, no, I'll see you this weekend because I'll be out. I think it's going to rain tomorrow, so I don't know if I'll be out tomorrow, maybe Sunday. We'll see what happens. But I'll be out this weekend in the woods, and pray for some action. Tell Tristan to send some of that good energy this way.
Right.
Hey,
I'll tell my guys to go your way. How's that?
Yeah, send them my way. Put them in an Uber.
Exactly.
You got my number. You need anything you want to talk, just hit me up, buddy.
I'll get them on the phone. All right, guys. I'll go on 4s.
All right, guys. I'm out of here. You guys have a good night. Tristan, I'll talk to you in a little while, buddy.
All right. Take care, everybody.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.